I call the member for Durack.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. It really is a joke, and we've heard a bit of comedy here today, but I stand here to address the Labor Party's MPI on failure, particularly a failure to deliver, considering their woeful record on delivering in the bush during their 6 years in office. It is also unfathomable, Deputy Speaker, that they have the audacity to discuss failures, given that they were widely known as a deeply chaotic government that rarely had Australia's interests at the forefront whilst they were in office, whilst racking up debt that left our country with a whopping interest payment of $1 billion a month. Mr Deputy Speaker, the Labor leader failed yet again another test as opposition leader, illustrating a complete failure to lead when he sat idly by and didn't have the political fortitude to sack one of his factional lieutenants, well-known Senator Shanghai Sam, and there's many other colourful names, but that's my preference. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has delivered right around across Australia, and there have been a number of projects and initiatives in my electorate of Durack which have got off the ground on the Prime Minister's watch, and I would like now to educate those opposite. In January, I announced a Women's Resource Centre in Fitzroy would be receiving $150,000 from the Turnbull government to address domestic and family violence in the community, which is part of the national plan to reduce violence against women and their children, announced by the government last November. Very important initiative, I would say. The funding was for the Women's Resource Centre to offer workshops promoting and enhancing safety and wellbeing of women and children in the community, tackling one of our national shames. In May, 2 Durack organisations were awarded Australian Small Business Advisory Service grants, one being the Karratha Business Enterprise Centre and also the Small Business Centre East Kimberley have received $600,000 over the next 3 years to provide low-cost advice to tourism small business and startups, which of course will be of great assistance to them with respect to tourism small business. Of course, a vital economic driver of local economies, not just throughout the Pilbara, but also Australia more broadly. And what about the Defence White Paper, Deputy Speaker, which was released in February, again under Prime Minister Turnbull's watch? Now, this white paper was not just about submarines and frigates. Oh no, Deputy Speaker. This paper included increasing defence spending by 2%, but it also included a number of upgrades to incredibly important defence facilities in my electorate in Durack. The RAF bases Curtin and also in Learmonth will be upgraded to support the RAF's new strike and air combat capabilities. The Harold E. Holt Communications Facility, which the Minister for Defence Marise Payne and I visited in April in Exmouth, will be upgraded to support communication capabilities and enhance space situational awareness. Deputy Speaker, the investments in my electorate of Durack and across Australia will boost the economy of Durack, further adding to this country's recent excellent economic growth of 3.3%, which we've heard previously from the Minister is better than any of the G7 members' economies. That doesn't sound like a failure to me, Deputy Speaker. The boost in the economy will also lead to further job creation, which is a hallmark of this government, with almost 220 jobs created in the last year, and I'm very proud to say that 60% of those jobs will be filled by women, and many of those in my electorate, Deputy Speaker. The Dobber Nadila campaign was launched in 2 places in my electorate, in Broome and in Geraldton. This campaign, which is part of the Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull government's National Ice Action Strategy, will get real results in this government's efforts to tackle the ice scourge in Australia. The campaign raises awareness of methamphetamine use and encourages people to contact Crime Stoppers to help tackle the issue of manufacturing and distribution of the drug in their area. As I've said on numerous times in this chamber, Deputy Speaker, ice is a massive problem throughout regional, rural and remote Australia, and every single measure like this strategy will play a role in decreasing ice use across the country and start to mend communities. Deputy Speaker, this is just a flavour of our commitments and what we've achieved in the last 12 months. Time allotted here today does not allow me to mention all of them, but on closing I'd like to say thankfully we on this side are in control. We are the adults. We have achieved a lot. and thankfully it's us and not the rabble on the opposite side.